Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to dive into something that impacts literally every single move you make, your joint health. It doesn't matter if you're a serious athlete or just someone who wants to keep moving around comfortably for many, many years, understanding how to take care of your joints is just absolutely crucial. So just think about it for a second. Have you noticed maybe a little bit of stiffness when you first get out of bed? Or, a task that used to be a piece of cake now feels like a bit of a struggle? These are often the very first kind of quiet signals our bodies send us that our joints could probably use a little more love and attention. All right, so to help get you moving freely again, here's what we've got on tap today. First, we're going to look under the hood at the engine of your joints. Then, we'll get into the real foundations, movement and hydration, before we talk about the best foods for your joints. After that, we'll put two of the most popular supplements head to head. And finally, we'll touch on what to do when that everyday care just isn't cutting it. Let's jump in. Okay, first things first, let's get into the mechanics. To really understand how to care for our joints, we first have to know what's actually going on in there, right?
It's a pretty simple question, but the answer is just fascinating. Our bodies have their own incredible built-in lubrication system. So what is this stuff? What's this crucial fluid that allows us to move smoothly and without pain?
Well, here it is. It's called synovial fluid. It's this thick, kind of slippery fluid. The consistency is a lot like egg whites, actually, and it fills our joint cavities. Now, its secret weapon is a substance called hyaluronic acid, and that's what gives it these amazing lubricating powers. Now, what's really amazing is how much this fluid actually does. It's not just about keeping things from rubbing together. Sure, it reduces friction, but it also acts like a natural shock absorber. And this is a huge one. It's the delivery service for your cartilage. It brings in all the good stuff, like nutrients, and takes out the trash. And that's so important because cartilage doesn't have its own blood supply to do that job. Okay, so knowing how critical synovial fluid is, how do we support it? How do we make sure our body has enough? Well, this brings us to the two most fundamental pillars of joint health: movement and hydration. These are the absolute non-negotiables. I love this analogy because it's just so perfect. A door hinge that never gets used gets all rusty and stiff, right? Well, our joints are exactly the same. Motion is lotion, as they say. It's that regular, gentle movement that keeps the synovial fluid circulating and keeps the whole system happy. Let's call this joint hygiene. It's like proactive maintenance for your body, and the key is just consistency. Think low-impact stuff, like walking or swimming. Always warm up with some dynamic movements to get the joints ready. And please, seriously, do not skip the cool down. That's where you get ahead of soreness. And finally, throwing in some mobility work helps you keep that full, healthy range of motion. And here's the other side of that coin: hydration. It's so incredibly simple, but we so often forget it. Healthy synovial fluid is mostly made of water. So if you're dehydrated, your body literally can't produce enough of it. That's why aiming for around 8 glasses a day is a game changer for keeping everything lubricated from the inside out. And this quote from Mobility Doc just hits the nail on the head. Exercise is a form of stress on the body. Now, it's a good stress, but it's stress nonetheless. The real magic, the real health benefits, happen during recovery. Things like movement, hydration, cooling down, they aren't optional extras. They are a critical part of the whole plan. So we've covered movement and hydration. Now let's build on that with our third pillar, nutrition. What you eat plays a massive role here. It can either fuel inflammation or help tame it, and it provides the very building blocks your body needs for strong connective tissue. First, let's talk about fighting inflammation, which is a major driver of joint pain. And you know what? Your kitchen spice rack is a great place to start. Turmeric has curcumin, ginger has gingerols. Both are incredibly potent natural anti-inflammatories. And things like garlic and onions are fantastic too, packed with sulfur compounds that help protect your cartilage. Next up, healthy fats. These are absolutely essential for lubricating the joints and keeping inflammation down. Omega-3s are the real superstars here, and you can find them in fatty fish like salmon or in plant-based sources like walnuts and flax seeds. And of course, olive oil and avocados are also excellent choices to work into your meals. And of course, your body needs the right raw materials to build and repair itself. Dark leafy greens give you calcium and vitamin K for your bones. Vitamin C is, well, it's non-negotiable for producing collagen, which is the main protein in our cartilage. And plant-based proteins from things like lentils and beans give you the amino acids you need for that whole process. So, to kind of sum it all up, on one side, you have the foods you want to focus on, like whole grains and probiotics, which really help reduce inflammation body-wide. And on the other side, you've got the culprits. Foods high in sugar, alcohol, and for a lot of people, gluten and red meat can really make joint pain worse, so it's a good idea to limit them.
Now, diet is always the foundation, but a lot of people turn to supplements for a little extra support. The two big ones you always hear about are collagen and glucosamine. So what's the deal? Which one, if any, is right for you? Let's break it down. Okay, first, let's talk about collagen. It's the single most abundant protein in our entire body. The scaffolding analogy you see here is perfect. It's the structural framework that gives strength and integrity to our joints, our bones, everything. And then there's glucosamine. Now, this one is a bit more specialized. It's a compound that's already found naturally in our cartilage, and its primary job is to be a building block for the cartilage itself, helping it stay healthy and strong. This table gives us a really great side-by-side. You can think of collagen as the broad, general-purpose tool. It provides the raw materials for all connective tissues, so it's great for overall prevention and health. Glucosamine, on the other hand, is more of a targeted tool. It specifically helps with cartilage, which is why it's often recommended for people who already have osteoarthritis or are recovering from an injury. So one is for broad support, the other is more for targeted repair. One last and very important point about supplements. You have to be patient. Your cartilage tissue just has a very slow turnover rate, so it can easily take 8 to 12 weeks of taking a supplement every single day to start noticing a real difference. This isn't a quick fix. It's a long-term commitment, and consistency is everything. But what happens when diet, exercise, and supplements still aren't enough to manage the discomfort? For some conditions, especially more advanced osteoarthritis, it might be time to look at other interventions. For people with significant knee osteoarthritis, one really effective treatment can be what's called an intra-articular injection of hyaluronic acid. Hey, remember that name? It's the key component of our natural synovial fluid. So this procedure is basically like injecting a booster shot of that lubricant directly into the joint to help restore that cushioning and provide pain relief that can last for months. Whew, we have covered a lot today. Everything from the science of our joints to diet, exercise, and even medical treatments. But really, it all comes down to the small, consistent things you do every single day. So I'll just leave you with this question. What's one simple change you can make today? Maybe it's drinking one more glass of water or taking 5 minutes to stretch that will help you build a more comfortable, mobile tomorrow. Thanks for watching.